What's up guys, Houndish here, and today it's time for some Destiny 2 Forsaken news. So we're going to jump in and talk about some new Destiny 3 leaks, some new suggestions that Europa is finally coming into Destiny, which is pretty exciting. We're also going to talk about some new information regarding an upcoming exotic quest, some pretty insane and broken loot farms that are going on in the game right now, as well as some ways to acquire mod components, masterwork cores, and we'll talk about some of the economy changes coming up, as well as a bunch of other stuff guys. Before we get into it though, quick shout out to a recent sponsor Netgear, who sent me the Nighthawk XR500 gaming router to check out. This is a premium gaming router with a bunch of really awesome features, designed for high performance multiplayer gaming. Absolutely something I'd recommend to you guys to check out if you're interested. The links to my previous video breakdown, as well as Netgear's website, will be in the description box below. Now let's get into the Destiny 2 stuff. We're going to speak about some supposed leaks for Destiny 3, information about a new location, and some upcoming content for Destiny 2 as well. Now I know a lot of you guys have seen the leaks that I've covered recently, and so you'll probably know about Anon the 9 on Reddit. Just in case you don't know about that, it's always nice to actually clarify the source a little bit. Anon the 9 has previously leaked a lot of stuff about Destiny, especially going into Forsaken and beyond. They leaked that we'll be getting 2 new locations. They also accurately described the new subclasses that we'd see in Forsaken many months before Forsaken actually dropped. They leaked that Thunderlord will be coming back to Destiny 2 inside a Festival of the Lost, and then of course, we now know that that is going to indeed happen. We've got some new information about that which I'll touch on in just a moment, but either way, Anon the 9 is a very reliable source. They posted to Reddit, "I can't wait," and we had this image right here as the main feature of the post. Now what we're looking at is actually the moon of Jupiter, known as Europa. Europa is a location that a lot of people have been speculating would come to Destiny 2. Bungie even showed concept art of Europa, of course drawn up by Bungie, and we know from previous leaks back in 2013, Europa was actually a major location that Bungie had planned for the game to arrive in the Comet expansion. This was of course the Taken King, but they actually changed direction and decided to focus on the Dreadnought, but we know that Bungie have focused on an area in Europa for a little while now. But somebody said, this is a moon of Jupiter, and this is the datamine guy who's predicted lots of stuff, and of course they're referencing Anon the 9, and Anon replied and said D3. So the infamous Destiny leaker is now saying that Europa is indeed planned to be a major location in Destiny 3. Also on the subject of Destiny 3, they said that Guardians will be using the Darkness, and Darkness subclasses or Guardians using Darkness abilities is something else which has been speculated about for a long time, but on top of this they said that open world areas will feature PvPvE. So according to this leak, Destiny 3 will have essentially patrol areas that do have some player versus player as well as player versus enemy gameplay. And that's certainly a pretty interesting concept. They also added that the development of this game is starting right now, with Chris Barrett as the game director, and Luke Smith is still there in a big role. And on top of this, they said that Destiny 3 will be even more hardcore than Forsaken. They're finally going to push the RPG side of the game. So obviously what we're hearing here is pretty interesting stuff. We know that Anon must have a pretty reliable source for these leaks. At this point, it's a little bit beyond coincidence, the stuff that they've been saying. But on top of this, the concept of Europa actually featuring in Destiny at some point isn't crazy whatsoever. In fact, I'd say it's pretty likely regardless of any leaks. But let me know what you guys think down below. Of course, this is just a leak, it's just a thing that someone is saying on the internet, but as I mentioned, it just so happens that that someone has called out a lot of Destiny stuff and been bang on. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Next though, we have some teases to another location in Destiny, and this is one that we could potentially see in Destiny 2. This is kind of a little secret of Cade 6's. So inside of the Ace in the Hole mission, the final mission where you acquire the Ace of Spades, Cade 6 makes reference to the Deepstone Crypt a whole bunch of times. Of course, he has messages to different people and different characters, and he has one for Petra, and he talks generally about the Queen, Aldrin, and the Awoken, but then he says, oh, and tell Paladin Oran if the sun over Nessus escapes Nebula Cycle, evac labor after dawn, under solstice. Obviously it sounds pretty bizarre, but if you actually take the first letter from each word, you end up with it's on Enceladus. Enceladus is a moon of Saturn, just like Titan, and there's concept art of this moon inside of Destiny 2 as well, but Cade also talks about the Deepstone Crypt and the minds behind it, and he says, I may be dead, but you haven't heard the last of me. So with all these references to Deepstone Crypt, this is actually the place where exos are made, or more specifically, the location of the subroutine which actually made the first exo consciousness, and the Tower of the Deepstone Crypt is an area that we've never been certain of the actual location of, so it could be a possible hint hint to the Year 3 update for Destiny 2, especially with that concept art of Enceladus. It could be a location that we go to, especially with those hints from Cade, and I'll be curious to hear what you think. Up next though, let's speak about some content that's going to be arriving much sooner. I want to speak about an upcoming quest in the game to hunt an exotic, and it's the Thunderlord that we just mentioned. We're going to talk about some spoilery stuff right here very briefly, so if you don't want any spoilers related to this quest, then skip ahead a little bit in the video right now. We did learn that apparently we're going to be jumping back into the Cosmodrome for a mission. This is to find the folks who killed Master Ives, and recent leaks have suggested that, of course, we'll be getting the Thunderlord as a reward for this. Thunderlord is now in the game. Of course, it's hidden away, but we have icons for it, both the thumbnail and the thumbnails for new ornaments for the weapon. We've got a couple of new bits of interesting information though. Some new leaked audio lines from Amanda Holliday suggests that we'll actually be finding a book as part of this mission with a series of collectible elements or pages, so check out this audio line.
Keep an eye out for the pages that go in that thing. They're the only clues we're gonna get.
So obviously we hear that from Amanda. These are the audio lines that tell us we'll actually be back in the Cosmodrome. When we look in the files, there is actually an icon for a book right here. This was added in the same update that we also get all of the Thunderlord stuff. So it looks like this book will either be kind of a guide for the mission, maybe we'll have to look in it to find clues, or it will actually be a collectible item, so maybe you have to find certain pages to piece the book together, and that'll actually be part of the quest, or even kind of a side chain part of the quest. It could be collectibles that happen over a period of time, or it could all be confined to one mission. We don't really know, but it's certainly pretty interesting stuff. On top of this though, with all of the other icons that we've seen for Thunderlord, we now have the UI icon for the ammo counter, and interestingly, we do have a unique Thunderlord icon this time. Of course, in Destiny 1, weapons didn't have unique icons, it was just a generic kind of icon for each archetype. It's just cool to see a machine gun right there, and this new quest is coming up on the 30th of October according to Bungie. That is next week's reset, where we'll also get an update with a bunch of positive changes for the game. Let me know your thoughts down below. Next though, I wanted to speak about a couple of random bits and bobs. So some folks have found a new way to acquire mod components in the game. It's pretty similar to the old farm with the Braytech Scout Rifle if you remember that one, but basically you can grab the Requiem 43 or any other blue Year 1 weapon that you have in your weapon collection. So there is an energy grenade launcher in the special slot, and you'll find other blues right here if you don't have these specific ones. But when you break these down, they do have a chance to reward mod components, and it seems to be 1 or 2 components every time you break down 9 of these weapons. So I just cleared that second slot right there, grabbed 9 of these. Funnily enough, when I was breaking them down, I wasn't seeing mod components show up on the screen, but the stack of components that I actually have was increasing. So you can see right here, I've got 8. I dismantle a bunch and I've got 9. So it can be an effective way to grab some mod components for the moment, if you absolutely really want them for a specific item. It does have to be a Year 1 blue weapon for this to actually work, but of course other folks have been trying to get Masterwork cores in some interesting ways because they are incredibly rare. Definitely if you have any planetary tokens, turn them in. You'll get old Year 1 gear mostly. You can break this down for additional mod components and occasionally Masterwork cores. Some folks have also been buying planetary materials from the Spider, especially when they come up for 1 legendary shard. So you can buy 5 mats for 1 shard, stack up a bunch of those, and then actually take them to the relevant planet and turn them in for a chance at Masterworked weapons and armor which can drop those cores once again. You can absolutely do it, it does work, but it is pretty expensive if you're using the planetary materials. Just remember, if you have old planetary tokens, they will be a much more efficient way. But there's another farm that folks have been doing for Dreaming City loot, and for this I'm going to shout out a video by Ninja Pups, but basically, it has been possible to acquire an offering to the Oracle, hold on to it from a previous week, and then actually have it glitch out, especially on the weeks when Marasov is here. And basically what this means is that when Marasov arrives, if you've got an old offering, it basically opens up the Queen's Court, but then it remains open. And this is especially useful if you're trying to acquire rare items from Dreaming City, namely the Ghost, the Sparrow, and the Ship. These are 3 really rare items that people really need to acquire the Cursebreaker. And this is the title for Dreaming City. So you can see right here, I'm actually pretty close to getting it. I need 1 set of Ahamkara bones, and I need a few more corrupted eggs, some of which are actually hidden in Ascendant challenges. And then I'll be able to get the Cursebreaker title, with the exception that I don't have any of those cosmetics from Dreaming City. So I've acquired every other item, Wish Ender, all of the armor, all that good stuff. But then you have these 3 which are really rare. So of course I hope Bungie makes a change to that, because there are a lot of people in the same position as me who just can't get them dropped no matter what they do. But this is one potential way to farm them. So I'll link Ninja's video below, but do bear in mind that there is a time-gated element to actually doing this farm, and it could potentially be fixed next time it comes around. Also on the subject of farming, I did mention the Nightfall Farm that you can do this week, and this is in the Hollowed Lair Strike, giving you a chance at the Mindbender's Ambition exclusive shotgun, which is a really cool weapon, as well as prime engrams, a lot of Vanguard tokens. But basically, you can just kill yourself as the chest spawns in the Nightfall version of this. As long as that chest opens up just as you die, you'll actually wipe if you're the last member of your team, and you can just repeat the boss encounter over and over again. Definitely the most effective farm for any Nightfall specific that we've ever seen, but also for general materials, so don't miss out on that one. Of course, next week on the 30th, we do have a fix for Masterwork cores. Are going to be more sources for those from bounties, an increase in the drop rate of Forsaken exotics, so reduced duplicates, an increase in drop rates for Nightfall specific loot, which is pretty awesome. Really hoping some of that economy stuff starts to improve a little bit, because I know it has been one of the really tiring elements for a lot of players. I'll keep you guys posted this week because we'll probably get more information about that update and more changes that we didn't hear about just yet. But if you've enjoyed this video, guys, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see more D2 content. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.